Come join me on a tour of the first 2 years of building a treehouse.
Okay, so now we have the bracket made. We're going to put that up here and the nut. And then we're going to try and put this whole entire lag bolt assembly in. So basically, I want my board on the inside, and then I'm going to have my homemade washer, and then the nut. So now it's up there, and we're going to use the impact gun to see if we can finish putting the anchor bolt in. The anchor bolt is almost in the tree. This piece right here has to be flush with the green cambium layer. So it is in past the bark by quite a bit in this area here. It just sticks out about 1.25 inches. So we're getting close to in here to hold it past. So we got a ways to go. I got a 4-foot pipe wrench on it, and I couldn't get it to go in. So here we go. Wow, that gave her everything we had there for a bit. We're still not in there. We're starting to wear on the nut even. Surprisingly, it's not that hot. I have a decent amount of ways to go yet. So I think we're gonna wait for a minute. So now we have it. It is exactly flush with the cambium layer. And so now it can grow out and around this great big thing here. And that'll make it super strong because it'll just grow right around it back all the way down to the shaft. This here socket is pretty warm now. Tell you what, if you do any kind of work with impact guns, this is the toy to have. This thing is amazing. I had a 4-foot pipe wrench on it. I couldn't even turn it anymore, and this thing went to town on it. I did put a 12 amp hour battery on it, and that did help out a lot. So definitely invest in one of them also. So it's day 2. I'm putting a 32-foot long beam up. We got caught up yesterday in the rain, and I knew that might happen. So I was trying to hurry. I didn't film at all. But we'll try and get some footage for the rest of this here. Right here's the pivot point for where the beam's going to sit. And so it's 16 feet on each side. And I'm just using the loader to tie it off so I can use it as a balance beam. So here you can see I'm using cinder blocks and as a counterbalance so I can pull this down and build the other side. Basically, I'm building one side at a time after I put an 8-footer and a 16-footer together because that's all I can stand to put up by myself. If the counterbalances fall off, it's going to get very heavy. So just be careful how you put counterbalances on. So today, I decided I got to pour more concrete tomorrow. And what do I need? I need somebody to hold the hose and water this thing and keep adding bags of concrete. So it's like a 2-man job just because you got to water it. So now I rigged up with some ball valve, some soft copper, and it shoots right about where it needs to shoot to mix it the best, just by the way it rotates. And this ought to improve the productivity so much more and delete one person, considering I work with myself most of the time. Good morning. So we're on the treehouse project. We have footers here in place. We're in the process of pouring concrete right now. There is 4 inches of concrete on the bottom, and we're leveling it out with cinder blocks. And I placed this 55-gallon drum to use as a sonotube because I really just don't want to miss this beam. I'm not the best at carpenters, but I definitely won't miss. Doing the same thing here. We're going to put some more rebar in here. And so this is 4 feet deep, about 4 feet wide by 2 foot wide. So I'm making good progress on the treehouse. I built myself a little platform at 1 sheet of plywood. It took 2 2x12s and I screwed them down real hard to make this crane work. And I'm pulling the boards up. Work smarter, not harder. I just set it down right there and I'm just pulling the rest of the way up. So basically, rehook. After it's already been up, then just pull it up. Make sure it cranes up. And let it back down. Then you can unscrew it and do it again. So it's been a while since I've given anybody an update on the treehouse. It's coming along okay. It's a long project. Give you an idea of a few things we're doing here. We have installed X bracing between the 6x6 posts. It's very crucial to have that in there. We have concrete 4 feet down, plus whatever the excess is on top that we needed, because they only stock 12-foot 6x6s. This is 13.6 off the ground. Then we got the main beams installed, and then another important thing is to put a brace going this way. You can do another one going this way also. They call that X bracing on that. That tightens things up. But one's really all you need. And so now I got the staircase put in. We started from the top, and originally there was just going to be one beam, this black beam here hooked up to the other tree, holding all these up. And I didn't think it would work, but I wanted to see what happened, and the whole thing would just teeter-totter and shake and bounce because there's only one pin in that tree up there. So we added the another 6x6 and another 6x6, and when waiting on more brackets because of the shortage, but then you want to have a great big T bracket up there. It does have black screws in them. You should use the proper screws. They would be the Simpson strong tie screws. They are beefy T40 heads. So then you need to support the steps, so we have the support here for the steps, and then that helps hold that end up better too. Did the same thing here in the middle. That way the center of the steps is supported well. Also helps to hold that, because there's not a whole lot going to hold that wall up top there when that gets hooked up. And then these two, they're just going to hang. We have this squared up temporarily, so that way we know everything stays square, and then we'll install X bracing on there and tie it into the steps going here across the bottom also. And then this ought to be pretty tight on this side. I'm probably going to make another video to show you how to do steps. I'm going to look to see if they have a video, but I came up with a really cool, easy way to do steps. So here's X bracing again, and it's a different type. It's still just as strong, if not stronger, just because of the way it is. And I only use 2 different types of boards because that's what I had laying around that day. You can use whatever you would like. 2x4s you can use. One thing that I did, and it's very important for X bracing, is actually cutting out pieces. So basically, here's half a board, and here's the other half, and I notched it all out. So that way they fit tight, there's no movement up and down, and a lot less movement from front to back. And what you do is you put these boards up here with just one screw, and you mark it. You just make a pencil mark there, and that way you can cut the end off. You mark where they intersect, and you chisel half of it out. You can use a circular saw and adjust the depth, and cut a whole bunch of lines. And then that way, you can just chisel out the wood. You can smash it out with a hammer, most of it, finish chiseling it out. I gotta make another one today, so maybe I'll show that video also. How we got 4x4s put up here. We don't have all the bracing up here, but now we have steps, so it makes it so much easier to get up here. And we'll get the rest of this bracing finished. And then the last thing that we're doing today is, since I'm doing this by myself, it's hard to measure things. Sometimes I have people come help me measure, but I didn't get the luxury, so I missed this. This concrete is in the way. I didn't miss it, I hit it, basically. So I fabricated the thing here, where I cut the metal out, so the step is in here, and then it's sitting on here. And then this is going to go right across the back and help hold the steps up too. And then there's going to be another post. This is just a temporary mark. But then another post from here up to the top. And then there's going to be one more piece coming through here to make a landing. And then another 4x4 go up the top for that too. And so this corner here is going to be floating also. So like pretty much this whole side's floating, because this side here is not attached to the ground either. I didn't want to put a bunch of holes next to my tree roots. It's very important not to do too many holes next to it, because if you're building a tree, you're building a tree house around. It's never good. So we're going to sign off here for now, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the video. If you subscribe, you'll know as soon as what I'm doing. We're going to have some classes and questions and answers later. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at backwoodshomesteadllc@gmail.com. So now we're going to learn how to do stairs. So first thing we're going to do is measure how far we ought to go down. So we measure that, and we get 31 inches. Now I got to go down a little bit further to the ground, so I just rounded it up to 33 inches. And then you can go to mycarpentry.com or search stair calculator, type in how far down you got to go, and it'll tell you a lot of good information. So that'll give you an idea of one of the last calculations. It calls for a stringer length, and it said for 57 inches. So I made it a little bigger because you're going to have to cut the ends and stuff off, so I use 63 inches. We're going to see if it's long enough, because it's a scrap board. Now, the next thing that you do is you do a 5.5 inch stringer, so you can run the chalk line all the way down to the other side, and then now you know how to calculate your stairs by testing out some angles. Another thing you can use is a 2x6, because it's going to be a lot cheaper to cut this side and the bottom to make it flat on the bottom on the go on the ground. So if you use a 2x6, that gives you those first 2 cuts, and then you have a start of a pattern, because it's the very hardest part is to get this cut and this cut right without ruining your board. So then basically what we're doing here now is there's a couple ways you could do it. You could have this as your last step, or you can have the last step flush with the top of the decking. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do that just to give you a bigger landing, because this landing here is actually a little on the small side, but it was the easiest way to do it this way. And so the boards are going to overhang a whole nother 10.5 inches, because that's what our 2x12s are we're using for steps. So now what I'm doing is I'm using an angle finder. It gives you the degrees on the stair angle finder. I put that up. Now I have it level. I have it here at my 33 degree mark, which is what it calls for, 32.9, 33, same thing. And so then I'm taking this corner and bringing it to this corner here, and then I can make that first cut. So what I do is I take a 2-foot level, and it doesn't really actually even have to be to that corner. It just has to be to this corner here, actually. And then you want to make this level, and then we're going to scribe our mark across the whole thing. And so now we have that first dimension. The pressure treated wood can really bind your saw up sometimes, so this is all the further I could go without stalling my saw. So I'm going to come over here and cut a triangle out. And now I can keep cutting again. So then, after we cut that angle, then we find our level point again, and basically just kind of let the board fall till it hits level. Right there's our level mark. So then we're just going to use a real simple way to tack it in there. And that should kind of hold it there, just real temporary. And then we come down here to the bottom, and we find our level again down here, and we make a mark. And now we cut us our bottom off. So then what I did was, right here's our chalk line. I brought the level right up to that corner, and then I made it level. And then this gives me my line right here, so I can cut this off, and this will be the bottom of the step. So now that I cut the bottom off, it's on the ground, and I'm still short for where I need to be for my mark by a long shot, because I need to be from this mark down to here is where I determined, because I want to make both of them the same height. So I can measure this and figure out how much more I got to cut off the bottom. And right here I have about 8 inches, so it's almost a full step basically. So then I can measure this down here and do that. So now you might be wondering how you measure that. So what we do is we measure from this corner out 8 inches. Then we measure from this corner right along the line. That way you get nice and square. And we measure 8 inches there. So then we take a straight edge, we put them on both the marks. And that'll give us our 8 inches. If you do it otherwise, you're going to cut way too much off. Don't forget, you're actually going to have to mark it all the way across. That way you get the proper cut. Another thing you can do is just take a sliver out, and then that makes it easy to get squared up with your line again, because pressure treated moves your saw all over the place, binds it up, stalls it out. So when I did the last cut, I was wrong. You measure 8 inches this way, it gives you a whole nother line. So what you need to do is, because we needed 8 inches last time, but now we only need 4 inches, we take the square, we make our mark for 4 inches, we make our mark for 4 inches over here, and then we make our line going across. So see, we only took 4 inches off last time, and that was where we was at for 7 inches. So now I might come up just a hair short, but this is what we're gonna try. So now I got my orange mark laid out against my other mark, so now I have a proper cut. So now we can start measuring the right angles and things. So now the next thing that we do is we already have this mark here, so we're going to put a level on that mark, and then we find our level. And once we find that, we make our strike. And then that should be between 9 and 9.5, normally 9 1/4. And we have 9 3/8, so that's good. And then we go and we draw a level down from that corner there. Oh, by the way, I tacked this board up here so it stays plumb and it stays at the right height. So now I got a level, strike a mark, and there we have it. Then that should give me 7 inches, so I know I did that right. And 7 inches from that corner there to the chalk line. Then we do that again, just get the level out. And then we double check that again. And we have the same measurement, so we're doing good, and we just keep doing that. Now that I got all my lines drawn, I can take my board off. And another good thing when you're doing carpentry is put X's in the spots that are getting cut off and removed. So one, you know which side the blade needs to be on the line, even though it only should cut. You got to get used to cutting the line off or leaving the line, and you got to have all kinds of special techniques and stick with those as you progress. And that way you have the most precise cuts. But we're going to use a circular saw and cut the joints. When you get to the corners here, you're not going to get them all the way, so we finish them with a jigsaw. You got to make sure that you hold on to this piece when you're cutting it with the jigsaw, because otherwise it'll snap off, and then it'll leave a corner in here. It gives you a lot more chisel work. I mean, it's easily fixable. I'm sure one's going to happen. I'll show you how to fix that. Now that I use the circular saw to cut these two cuts, I got right to the corner. You just finish them off with a jigsaw. Hold this piece. And make sure you hold the piece on the other side. And that made a nice clean cut inside the corner. As you can see, there's just a little bit of rubbish in there, so you can actually just take a chisel and just kind of bump it with your hand a few times, just to kind of square the corner up a little bit. Depends how fussy you want to be. Carpentry's one of them skills where you just hone yourself throughout your whole life and learn different techniques. Much better. Now that I have this stringer made, we're going to just trace it. So make sure your edge is lined up all the way across, and just put 1 or 2 screws in on the way going down. Don't sink them in hard, because you got to be able to pull them back out. And then we just trace it, and then cut the same one, and then usually you make 3 of these at a minimum. The big thing is make sure you always trace this one. So we'll make this one the copy. Or no, we'll make this the main, we'll call it. Always trace the same one, so these are all close as possible together. You're all dying for an update on the treehouse. So I got all the joist hangers installed on it. And so now, it's time to start doing walls here in a second. The only thing I gotta do is just put a little extra bracing in the floors around the trees some. And of course right there where the shower's gonna go. Sometimes you gotta be a circus clown just to get around this town. Oh wait, we're in the country. So there might be either ways easier than this, but I got a board nailed at the end there, and then I'm putting the boards right across here. And as I'm putting in windows and stuff like that, I'm marking the studs for just a 16-inch on center, and then I have windows. So the king stud, the part that goes as a support there for the windows, that's what you mark for the king. And then you mark your window measurement, and then you keep marking your 16-inch centers going along, and then you write jack on those, because those are the jack studs. And so by doing that, when you have more than one person on the job, they know exactly what all's going on. So I got 2 supports here in the middle as regular 16-inch on centers, and then if you know anything about windows, you'd put one here too as another jack stud and so on. So we'll show you that later on. And then I just cut them flush here in the middle of the joist then too. So that's it for 8 minutes. So after a while, you get too far from the end, so I screwed a block to the center of where one of the studs go, and I just keep on measuring. Every time you hit a red number, you're on a 16-inch on center. So then I have another little trick that I do is when I'm making my mark, I go and I do 3/4 of an inch on each side of the red mark. So then it gives you 1.5 inches for your stud. So basically, we just go right here and 79 1/4, 80 3/4, and then we take the square, just go and make a mark on both sides. And then my top and my bottom is both equal. There should be almost no work at all to get everything plumbed up easy. Okay, everybody, so we just got day 2 of wall framing. And if you listen to my video about the king studs and the jack studs and yada yada, well, I screwed that up because when you first do that first one, that's got to be a jack stud too, so you can prop up. And I built one here, so now you can see what it's supposed to look like. And so this is that one that was going to be there. So you put the sill plate in, put in the window height still, that's easy to do. Then you put the header in like that, and then you have the 2 king studs next to it then, and that shores everything up. And then you the same marks and just bring them down, level them up, and then you're all done with the top there. Very crucial that you put some support bracing in everywhere you can. We got one in going that way, this way here, this way here. We got up above the tight corners. We got a real big one going all the way across because I'm trying to build everything here and keep sliding it over because there's only 39 inches to go around this tree. There's not a whole lot of room. And then when we get to the other side, then I can start building them on that platform over there. I decided to take the saw down there because all the wood's down there, and it's just a lot more room up here than having the saw down there. So it's a lot up and down the stairs. 25 sets of stairs, or 25 steps I should say, with a 7-inch rise roughly. So we're up there, we're like 14 feet in most places, so it's a lot of work to get the material up here. Hey everybody, giving you an update on the treehouse. We got all the walls in today. That was a task in itself. And everything's plumbed up, and now it's time to start focusing on the roof. This thing is massive. gotta get these boards 25 feet all the way up to the top of this treehouse. And well, if you know me, I gotta wait to do it all the time. Shut the air off, turn the air on, and let it go up. And that's how you get to the top.
Coming around here, I'm gonna walk in. There'll be a sliding pocket door here, and this will be the sink area. And you got a nice area here, exposed tree. Got to figure out how to seal the gaps a little bit better. As you can see this, we don't want to put anything too hard because the tree still moves in between here. Got some more in here, and then we're gonna have the toilet area. So this is pretty big. I'm trying to figure out exactly where to put it. It'll be right in here. And then on this side here, we're gonna have a shower, 6 feet long. And right here, as you walk above the bathroom, you can see the loft. Now this is gonna be a sealed wall on this side, so that way you have privacy. And then as you walk back out of the bathroom, and you're in the living room, you can see the loft up here. So we're gonna do like a decorative type of fence in there, and then we're gonna make like a little ladder so you can come up in this cubby hole right up here and go into the loft. So a 6-foot person can lay across in here pretty comfortably, but otherwise if you're sleeping going this way, it's about 5.5 feet, so you can't be too tall, mostly for kids. But then as you come down through here, this is the way to go to the bedroom. And it's a nice sized master bedroom. It's 8 foot going from here to here, and then 16 feet going this way. We got some nice windows. This one's a little high to give you more privacy. It's almost to my shoulders. And then we got a nice big window over here. Everybody just giving a quick update. Doing the main beams. We put all the ridge beam up there first. Almost done. It's getting dark. But anyway, I have to do that. Then we do what I did here. Put the main beam up, the main rafters up, and then do the wall on the other side, which will be on this side. And then it's just a matter of making all these go up. It's really a job doing all this. You got to go from the trailer up to the scaffold, then from the scaffold, and you lay them against here, and then from here, then you have to go up to the loft. Then once you get them to the loft, then you have to get them up on the roof. It's amazing how high it is, and so that's like 4 or 5 different transfers. It really helps if you have a second guy here, but you can't have a second guy here all the time. It may not even be so bad, but this board right here, look how soaking wet it is. It must weigh 150 pounds, I'm not even joking. And then this board here on the ground, it was so light I could actually throw it up here from standing on the scaffolding. So the important thing when you're building things is, especially if you're doing it your first time, you're going to learn things. So this beam here, I had blocking in, so it was all the way to the top like this. But we need air vents to come up through the ridge. So we need air to come through here. So I 45 all of this, so it makes it up into my ridge vent now. Because you should have an 1.5 inch gap in here, or minimum of 3/4. 1.5 inches would be best, and go from there. But you need 18 inches per linear foot on average. Hey everybody, so when you're really, really high in the air, you could just kind of like ratchet strap a ladder to the top of the wall, and then it'd be leaning against there. And then you could use the ladder, because see, that's a 2-foot overhang, and it works just fine. But I highly recommend wearing climbing gear. Have a nice day, don't die.
Hey everybody, so today I put this beam here to hold the ceiling joists up, and I put another one over on the other side. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side over there, but those are 16 footers instead. They're gonna be heavy. But what that does is that holds on the main beam going across, and then these here are the cantilever edges, so that's gonna help hold a lot of the weight up, because you have all the way to the roof, all the way to the walls, pushing down on these floor joists. So this is gonna help hold a lot of that up by putting these 2 big beams in. What's that? You say you want a self-leveling lift? Okay, we'll grab the remote, put a level on it. Yep, it's level. You think they like to play this song on TikTok? See you later, Frank. Thanks for all the help.
The house in the sky.
The house in the trees, my dad calls it. The tree in the house. The house in the trees, I guess, yeah. Yeah, the tree in the house. Okay, good job, we're going past the danger zone. A lot of people were asking how I'm going to make it so the tree don't leak. So first off, we took a 2x6 and we put it right here where this triangle is, and we cut it at a 22-degree angle to fit the roof contour. And then now I have another piece here. And what we did here, I should have showed you, we put plywood in, and so we made that piece there, and this here is going to come, so it pushes all the water away from the tree this way too. So I'll show you here in a minute with the plywood. Here we are now. We got the last part of the cricket made with the plywood, so you can see how that triangle's in there, and we just have a single-sided triangle going on here. So it comes down, hits this, slopes down away from the tree then.
I'm Mason the Mason, but now I'm Mason the Roofer. I'm a certified roofer and a certified nail gun operator. Watch out.
Put the plywood on the lift. We've got some hooks here on the end, and take it right up. Use one of these clevis hooks right here and picks right up on the plywood. Works real well. Everybody, we got the roof done. We still need to put the ridge cap on yet, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. I'm real good friends with my cousin Frank, and he's amazing. He'll tell us exactly what to do. So anyhow, I'm going to finish up putting some zipboard on my walls. And I know I can't get it all done today because it's already 6 o'clock on Sunday. But I'm going to do as much as I can because this machine here is a nice machine, but it's $180 a day. And luckily my good old friend gave it to me for the weekend for the same exact price. Happy Treehouse! Hey everybody, so we're finished up doing the zipboard here. And just so you know, like we got some nails that are sunk a little too deep. And then there's a lot of paper in some of these. You go around and just tear the paper off. So, but then what I'm doing is I'm covering them all with Flex Seal paint yet too. So that'll seal up all of the crevices, make it water and airtight then. Here's a perfect example of a flush fit nail. That's what it's supposed to look like. But you got all this paper and stuff in here, and it just really should be pulled out. A lot of paper is going to pull moisture. And so if you go over every single piece, scratch, right there's a scratch. I can go over that with the paint. It's just a real nice fine-tuned job of what you should do. And most people probably don't do this. What type of nail gun do you use to do this? I'm wondering if you can use a roofing nail gun, which has bigger nails, but I got to find a ring shank type nail. So if anybody's done this and it's got a good roofing nail, show it. Thanks. Hey everybody. So the nice thing about having a 3-foot overhang is the water's dripping behind me. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm waterproofing the side of my house while it's raining. And I think it's a good idea. I think everybody should have a 3-foot overhang on their house. It's just much better for the foundation, all kinds of things. So here the tree's moving. Everybody wants to ask about tree sway. This is with about a 20-25 mile an hour wind. It's going about 3/4 to an inch maybe. If you're trying to repurpose an inner tube to seal around the tree or whatnot, you'll see how they have these mending lines when they make the inner tube. So to make this sit flat, this is the total outermost part of the tube. So that's the center line. We cut straight up to that. So right here's another example. And so now this just lays nice and flat. So I'll show you this here in just a second. So now you can see that it's pretty flat. I have to work it out just a little bit. And then now it goes all the way around on the bottom half, and then we'll do the top half and bring it out passing around. This shows you my overhang better. It stays dry. It's all right about here on the window. This is the first little bit of moisture right here. So that works out pretty good. Decent wind, 25 mile an hour maybe. Got the last window in. I figure I'd give you a tour for the season. Coming right on up through steps. Still have to install a bunch of railing. Well, I want to make sure everything could get up the stairs before I put the railing up. Got the doors in. Got 10-foot ceilings. Got main beams going up across. French doors for a deck later on. This is going to be where the kitchen starts. Put a tiny stove in the corner. The sink here. These are crank out windows. Got the loft in the bathroom underneath. Hallway going back to the master bedroom. This is how you get up in the loft. Nice little peek window for some privacy. A nice size window in here. The same thing with the main beams up across. Little maintenance closet. Yeah, 6-foot by 4-foot shower over here in this corner. Toilet over here in this corner. Thanks for watching. So we're up here in the treehouse in the middle of winter. And I want to let you know kind of what's going on here a little bit. So this is the entrance coming up the steps. And all these open boards here is going to be a clear roofing. So you can kind of just walk out, hang out, whatever you like to do out here. And then this is the outside wall over here. So this tree is kind of outside and inside. And then this will be outside wall. This will be an outside wall also. This is the shower on the other side of that. So this will be all insulated real heavy. And then there's a window up there above the shower. That's kind of neat. So you'll let the light in from this wall in through there. So it's a good way to get inside light to the bathroom because there's walls all the way around the bathroom. Like even that window there, it won't let light in unless I come up with a way to do so. And so then we're going to head on up in the loft. I was going to edit it, but I thought at the same time it gives you a nice little preview every step of the way. We still got a long way to go here. This might be a window too. That would help let a lot of light in inside. So I might have to redo that whole header there. No big deal. And then here's one side of the loft. On the upper loft, right here's the lower loft, and you can see right here, there's board. This is going to be a wall. Then the bathroom will have 10-foot ceilings once you get out from underneath where the vanity goes. Because the vanity will be down here, and this will be the second part of the loft. And there's going to be a neat little hangout in both places. I might have to restructure the roof, and so I can make that work better. I didn't realize I was going to make this a finished space, or maybe I'll just finish off the space right there, and then above the master bedroom you can have peace too, so that can all just be heavily insulated. So let me know what you guys think in the comments if you think it's overboard to have this huge space up here. But I really think it'd be nice to be able to read a book on the end of that. That'd be, you're 37 feet high in the air when you're looking out that window there. So that's about all for now. Happy treehousing.